Alright, so this is part 2 to yesterday's video. If you haven't seen it, click up here and I'll put a link. Alright guys, enjoy the video. Next up we have my Traxxas /4x4 Platinum. Now this thing is one of my favourite RC cars. The beating that this thing can take is unreal. It just blows my mind how this thing can take some of the bad landings, some of the big air, the crashes, and it's still holding together. Now it's got quite a few upgrades on here. Well, I'll say quite a few, not a massive amount, but starting off at the front, we've got an RPM shock tower because I've broken that before, and people kept telling me to get the RPM arms, and I haven't done it yet because I never broke one. And then as soon as I said that, then I broke one. So I've put an RPM arm on here now, and I probably will put them on there all round. I have already got them, all I've got to do is put them on. So it's running the Traxxas steel drive shafts, and I've tried pretty much every shaft out there, and they all break. The MIPs, I got through like 3 of them in like 2 outings. They were probably one of the weakest. And because there's not much travel in them, it started eating all the bearings in the diffs as well. So I've gone back to these Traxxas steel ones. The only ones I haven't tried yet that people keep saying to me is try the X01 shafts because they've got a bigger axle, because I do still sometimes break the axle off on this. So I will try them out at some point. One of the big problems with this when I first got it was it kept bending the centre drive shaft. So I've now got a Techno RC one in here, and that has eliminated all the problems. The only problem that happens now is that sometimes this little grub screw comes off. So really that's just a case of cleaning it up and putting some better Loctite in there. But other than that, it's been 100% reliable. So it's running a Castle Mamba X 10th scale ESC in here, so this thing can do 6S. And I have actually put 6S through this motor, and it's stupidly fast, completely and utterly uncontrollable. Moving on to the back, we've got an RPM rear shock tower, because I've broken one of them before. And I'm running standard bumpers. I did try the RPM bumpers, but they kind of broke straight away. Well, the back one did anyway. The front one, I didn't really like the look of it, and people were saying it gets ripped out from underneath, so I just kind of took it off. I've got loads of different wheels for this, but currently I've got these fast track wheels on there. So far, by far, the best body shell that I've run on this thing is this bug body here. I like the way it looks. It doesn't sort of parachute as bad when it's in the air. It's brilliant. It's supposed to be pretty durable as well. So far, guys, this is my favourite body. I've still got other bodies, and they'll fit straight on there, so all I've got to do is just drop the body on. So, you know, it's going to have different bodies on different outings, but this one is probably going to be my body of choice. Oh! So next up we have my Hobby Hyper VS kind of 8.5 Frankenstein. This thing started off as a Hyper 8.5 Nitro. Then the guy I bought it off, he converted it to an electric, and he used mainly Hyper VS. So the whole centre section is Hyper VS. The Hyper VS has got the same diffs as the 8.5, so it's pretty much Hyper VS what you see here, but it's got Hyper 8.5 suspension on it, just the arms. And a bit of a weak point. Every time I take it out, pretty much, I'll destroy these hubs. So I probably will put Hyper VS suspension on this thing. So upgrade-wise, I've put on the 70-75 race chassis because they're a little bit stronger. It's running an Rjx Hobby steering servo, and this is my servo of choice. I really love these servos. I've had them for years. Yes, that was a parcel just turned up. No idea what it is. Let's have a look. It's a floating alligator head. I saw a video on Facebook where somebody got themselves one of these and they made it remote controlled. And they were driving it around in lakes and stuff and scaring people with it. And I thought it would be a great idea to try and do the same thing. But it's a little bit too small. I don't think... I don't know, what do you reckon, guys? Is it believable if that was coming at you? Alright, let's get back to it. So, as I was saying, Rjx Hobby Servo. These are my all-time favourite servo, especially for the price. Loads of speed, loads of torque. We're looking at around about 21 kilos of torque, and we're looking at a speed of 0.05. And super duper smooth. There's no slop in there. It's made like a Swiss watch. I really cannot fault these, and to top it all off, extremely low current drains. You're not going to have to mess about with any external becks or anything like that, like you do with some of the Savox servos. Motor-wise, I'm running a Hobby Wing combo, and this is a Max 8 and a 2200 kV motor. It's running Proline Badland wheels and tyres, And that is pretty much it. We've got a Proline wing on here too. And I think, guys, that pretty much sums this one up. By the way, anybody that wants to get a 1/8 scale buggy for bashing, I would definitely recommend the Hyper VS. Next, we've got my Traxxas Unlimited Desert Racer. This thing is completely and utterly bog standard. The only thing that I've done is put Hobby Wing Max 6 ESC in there so I can try to run the thing on 8S just for a bit of fun. Just check out the suspension on this thing, guys. It's just something else. I mean, this thing is completely in a class of its own. It's not really a basher. It's not really, I mean, you can jump it, but you're not really supposed to air it out. It's not really built for that. But it does jump really well. It lands nicely. It's a little bit on the soft side, but it's kind of set up to go over sort of rough terrain. So I'm going to leave it like this. So people do say to me quite a lot of the time, what's better, UDR or the E-Revo? Or what's better, UDR or the X-maxx? Well, it's a completely different beast. You can't really compare it. I mean, this, you're going to blast it over rough terrain, and it's for sort of scale, and the way it sort of soaks everything up, it's sort of great fun. While something like an E-Revo or an X-maxx, you're just going to be jumping the thing and getting crazy air and doing all your stunts. So, completely different thing. You can't really compare the two. None's better than the other. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. For bashing, probably not. So next, we've got my Traxxas Rustler. And I do apologise, guys, if I miss anything out. I'm just doing this video off the top of my head, nothing scripted. I'm just saying stuff as it's coming off the top of my head, so I might miss the odd little detail out here and there. So at the moment, this thing is running standard wheels and tyres, and is running a Proline Bulldog body shell. People keep saying to me, where do you get these from? Well, they no longer make them. So, have a look inside. We're running a Hobby Wing Max 10 SRC or whatever it's called, and this can run 4S LiPo. And people say, why don't I make this 6S? Well, the thing is, guys, on 4S, this thing is completely insane. It's completely uncontrollable. So there really is no need to put any more power through it. It's just insane. So starting off at the front, it's all RPM'd up pretty much. So we've got RPM arms, RPM hubs, RPM knuckles, RPM bulkhead. The shock towers are still stock. These links here are still stock. I've not really had many issues with that, so I'm going to leave it. This thing really does take a beating, by the way, guys. Shock-wise, we're running the Traxxas Aluminium shocks. I can't remember the part number, but I do have a video on this. If you go back, you'll see more information on that. And these things are durable. I've not really managed to break them yet. I've really put them through their paces. The standard shocks, the caps used to pop off all the time and bend the shafts and everything. So these are definitely much stronger. Still running the standard servo. Running the standard receiver in here. Obviously XT90 again, like I do on everything. Stock motor. RPM rear shock tower, because I did finally kill that. And we're running the Fast Trax drive shafts. And these so far have given me 0 issues. I've made a video about these. All I had to do was make up a little spacer to put inside the hub, because it was binding when you do the nut up. But other than that, guys, these have been 100% reliable. I've had no issues with these whatsoever. So again, we're running RPM arms and RPM knuckles. Gearing wise, completely stock. And that pretty much sums it up. Oh! Oh! Jesus Christ! Did you get that?
I think so.
Oh my God! What happened? So a lot of the time I see in the comments, why do I keep ditching the Traxxas ESC? It's not always for reliability, because most of the time they are reliable. I've only really blown up a couple. They've not really, it's not a reliability issue. The reason that I put in a different ESC is because I want to put in more S lipos. I want to get more power out of it. I'm a little bit crazy. I'm a little bit insane. I don't really care if I lose my warranty. So I do this on my own risk, and I just want to get a little bit more fun out of it. And that is really the reason why I do it, guys. Reliability wise, I've not had much trouble with Traxxas ESCs. I've had a few servos go here and there, so I normally keep the stock servo in there until it dies. And so if we have a look at, like, say, this one, for example, this has had loads and loads and loads of abuse. Still got the servo it came with. This thing's had loads and loads of abuse, and that's still got the servo in it that it came with. This one here, the servo didn't die, but I wanted to upgrade it. And the servos in these two, I've upgraded them, but that was more to get a bit more torque out of it, not really for reliability, because the standard servo I had no issue with for like a good couple of years. Alright, so that's it for part 2, guys. Tomorrow we got the last and final part, so if you like this video, guys, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, smash the bell button to stay notified. See you soon. Bye.